How can I cope with jealousy and insecurities when my husband is with my co-wife? A lot of times when it comes to insecurities and when it comes to jealousies within polygyny, it's always connected with comparison. She has this and she has that. I don't have this and I don't have that. They doing this and we not doing that. It always is connected in some way, shape, or form within a comparison type of situation. Now, I'm not saying it at all, but most of the time, it normally is connected with comparison. And we're going to talk about that in a little bit.
Peace, peace, peace. And assalamu alaikum. It's your girl, the co-wife coach.
Welcome to another episode of the Poly Talk podcast. I'm your host, Mecca, the co-wife coach, and I'm hoping that you're having an amazing day. We're going to jump right into this question that was submitted to us, and it goes a little something like this. How can I cope with jealousy and insecurities when my husband is with my co-wife? Now, some people say, well, what is a co-wife? It's just another term for sister wife or his second wife or third wife or fourth wife if you use the numerical description. You will hear me use the term co-wife, meaning that is your husband's other wife, or co-wives, meaning that is your husband's other wives. So, how do you cope with the jealousy and the insecurities that may come along with him being with one of his wives for the night or the day, depending on what your arrangement is? Please, pretty please, okay? Don't allow yourself to get so wrapped up into thinking about them. What is they doing? Does she cook better than me? Does she look better than me? What does the house look like? What does she drive? What clothes does she wear? How does her hair look? Oh my goodness, does she smell better than me? She has kids. She doesn't have kids. Oh, I know her house is going to be quiet. Oh, her house is going to be this and this, that, and just driving yourself crazy with all types of thoughts that really is not helpful to you. It's more harmful than it is helpful. Don't think about what's going on with them when he's not there with you and when he's with his other wife for the night. Do not drive yourself crazy. One of the ways you say, well, how do I do that? One of the ways could be, what can you do with yourself in that time? I like to call it your free time, or, amongst my polygynous friends, my sisters, when we talk amongst each other, we'll go, you off? Is this your time off, or are you on schedule? Meaning, and it's in a playful manner where it's either, are you, is it your night or is it not your night? Is it your time or is it not your time with your husband? The free time or the time that you have off, there's all kind of things that you can do with yourself. Some people say, well, what? Well, I got something. I got several actually for you. So one of the first things is diving back into a hobby. And I know that is like so typical. I know. We're going to get the typical ones out of the way. So that is very typical. Dive into your hobby. I could do that even if he was married to me in monogamy. You're absolutely right. You could. But now you got a little bit more time where you don't have to worry about this or worry about that, especially if you do not have children. If you do have children, we're going to talk about that in a minute. But dive into some of the hobbies that you actually enjoy, whether it's planting, gardening. We just got into puzzles. Again, I don't know if anybody does puzzles, but I'm starting to respect the artistry of literally sitting down and putting a 350, 500, or 1,000 piece puzzle together. It takes some time. It allows you to calm down, relax. You're thinking, it's putting your brain into some other active work outside of thinking about him. And on top of that, when you finish putting that puzzle together, you actually could do a few things with the puzzle. But whatever your hobby is, dive into it. One of my hobbies that I absolutely enjoy, even though it's also something that I actually do business wise, is real estate. Real estate, studying, being a part of, being in the midst of real estate has been a hobby of mine since I was 15 years old. Yes. And even though I might not have necessarily been moving bricks, ooh, bricks as far as for your house. Even though I wasn't selling houses, that's moving bricks for anybody. That's another term for it. But even though I wasn't selling houses or buying houses at 15, I was studying about real estate simply by just reading the classifieds in the newspaper. When I was a teenager, when I would be over my grandparents' house, they would always get the daily paper delivered to their home. And I would look in the classifieds because the comics was right there, and then after the comics was the classifieds. Those are just a few of the hobbies that I actually enjoy, but yours may be a little different. Whatever those hobbies are, start taking some of them or bringing some of them back into your life and putting them into full practice if you haven't. And if you are, saying like, you might say, I already have hobbies that I'm doing. Okay, well, that may be a few. Bring out some new ones, put them in rotation. The second one is taking time out for your family. So I mentioned kids earlier, and if you do have kids, then this is time where you can kind of give your kids a little bit more one-on-one time depending on the age range. Now, I know that there's some moms out here who may have a lot of younger children that requires a lot more attention, say for instance, than maybe someone's older. But it's just, and when I mean attention, I'm talking about like you have to keep eyes on them so that way they're not getting into things that they don't need to be getting into. So when it comes to even with your kids, it's like, okay, it gives you the opportunity to do one-on-one time, maybe with a few of them. You like, hey mom, or whoever it is that may help you with the kids, like, hey, could you mind taking the two youngest ones, and I want to spend time with the 7-year old. And maybe you guys go out on a date. And even sometimes what you can do is, whether it's weekly, bi-weekly, or even once a month, put it in rotation where it may be you going and spending one-on-one time with, each of the children individually, depending on, your availability. And it doesn't even have to cost you much money, if any money at all, depending on what it is that the kids like. For instance, I know some of my kids say they like going to skateboard parks. So maybe we might go to a skateboard park, and they'll have the time of their life. Now, if you have older kids, that's, you can talk to them a little bit more. You can see what they want to do, because sometimes they don't even require that much. They may want to just chill in the house, watch a movie, or maybe just sit and talk with you, depending on the age. I mean, and even though sometimes people think, oh, teenagers, they're older, they don't require much time. But in reality, yeah, they do. Sometimes they just want to sit next to you and maybe cuddle or curl up, next to you and watch a movie, or just have a conversation about what's been going on with them in school and friends and whatever. But giving them that undivided attention is absolutely important. So taking the time out for them could actually be more important than what you think, even though this is your free time and this is time away from your husband because he's with his other wife. This is giving you time to pour into your kids as well, because they need you just as much as he does. Those are just a few, possible options as far as with your kids. And if you don't have children, you may spend time with other family members, as far as siblings or parents or grandparents or aunts, uncles, cousins, whomever, or close friends that are like family, but giving you the time to actually, spend with them. Because I know that there's sometimes when marriages occur, we kind of spend less time with our families compared to how we were when we were single. But being able to put time aside for them and spending time with them, they would really appreciate it. And it's like, you may not necessarily have to go anywhere because you may live in different states, but you might do a Zoom or FaceTime, or it may be a moment where you might go and visit, where you're traveling. So there's all kind of different things that you actually can do. Now, I also mentioned friends along with, number two, as far as with family, and those are those close friends that are like family. But what about those other friends that are, yeah, they're friends, that we're good, we're cool, but that's not like my sister. It's more like, that second cousin that you see from time to time, but you enjoy your time with them. Catch up with a friend, go out for coffee or tea or boba or whatever it is that you may like to do. Maybe it might be a moment where you guys get a chance to catch up, hang out, and kind of like, just be able to build a little bit more and allow you to also see, because you never know what people are experiencing in their lives. You never know. You may actually even have something in common. So being able to have those moments with them as well. Now, even though that this next one is the fourth one, it really should have been the first one because I'm not going in any particular order, but this should be top tier. Can you guess what it is? I'll wait. Let me go sip on this. And this is not a Wawa drink, it's just a Wawa cup. It's actually cold pressed juice. But anyway, all right, I gave you some time to think. Self care. See that right there, what I just did? I was a little parched and I wanted some juice. I gave y'all a chance to actually think about it while still taking care of me. Self care. That was literally an example that I did not plan to do, but I'm glad that it turned out that way. So, self care. And this is for the people that can see the video. For all those that are listening, I'm sorry you missed out on the visual. It's okay. It's okay. But taking care of yourself is absolutely important. Absolutely important because all of the things that I just mentioned, you can't do well consistently without taking care of yourself. Like, what are the things that need your undivided attention? What parts of you do you need to actually really pour into? What are some of the things that you can do for yourself? And we think of self-care, and a lot of times the typical, like, first three, maybe take a bath, read a book, drink, or go for a walk. I won't say those are top three, but you normally see those in that list of self-care. But self-care is not cookie cutter. Self-care is what is required from you to be able to take care of you. What do you need? What is it that you need to put into practice in order for you to refuel yourself so that way you can be able to give to others? So, yes, it could be taking a bath. That might be one day, but what's the next day? Because self care is not just a one time thing, once a week, once a month thing. There's different levels of self care that you may dibble and dabble throughout the month, throughout the week. But self care is a daily, daily thing, whether it's actually making sure that you're taking care of your internal body as far as what you eat. Are you eating? Are you hydrating? That is self care. That's just one way. What are some other ways? My self care could be also, maybe eating, uh, snacks that are going to be beneficial for me and my health and my wellness, opposed to some of the snacks that I may eat that may not be so good for my health and wellness, but maybe I might dibble and dabble once in a blue moon or once in a while, but not on a daily basis. I make it my business to not do it on a daily basis. That right there within itself, being accountable and taking charge of your health, that is self care. So, self care can be so many different things. It's not always like that physical, oh, I need to go get a massage. That is self care, but that's not the only self care. Again, we got levels to this. Like that might be level 5 self care. But what level 1 self cares are you doing? Level 1's meaning like top priority, things that are necessary, like I just mentioned: eating, drinking, making sure that you're actually giving yourself the ability to take in healthy, foods and drinks to be able to allow your body to operate and function as best as possible. And for some people, that you might say, well, no, that's not level 5 for me, Mecca. That's more like a level 2. Matter of fact, that acupressure or the acupuncture may be level 1 because it's a part of my health and wellness, care. Whatever it is, make sure you do it. Matter of fact, I'm giving you an assignment on this one. Give yourself level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4, and level 5. And think of all the things. I want you to make a list of all of the self-care practices that you need, want, and require. And then start putting them into its proper place as far as this goes in a level 1. This goes in level 2. So level 1 is absolute necessity, whereas level 5s can go under the wants and the once in a blue moon type things. The next one, number 5, and I mentioned this in the self-care, but it needs its own space to be able to discuss. And that is chill, aka, or also known as resting. Chilling slash resting. Giving yourself the moment where you are allowing your mind, your body, and your spirit to just relax. Now, I wanted to talk about this part because people think, oh, what is that? I mean, it's just like, what is relaxing or what is resting? That's the word, resting. Resting is like, normally people think, oh, I can rest when I'm going to bed. No, resting it can be when you give yourself the moment to just do nothing, or at least that's what it looks like on the outside. But on the inside, you're literally allowing your body to rest so that way it can do its thing as far as how things function and how things are moving and healing and working on the inside. So sometimes when you sitting in the couch and on the couch or in the chair or even in the bed and you're just doing absolutely nothing, you might be watching a show, you may be reading a book, you may be listening to something, or you just may be laying there, sitting there with your eyes closed. And somebody can say, "Oh, what are you doing? Why are you being so lazy?" You say to them, "No, no, no. I am doing everything that I need to do. I am resting." Resting that mind is definitely not an easy task because when we rest our bodies and when we close our eyes, our minds, they definitely can go from 5 miles per hour to 100 miles per hour as far as with all of the thoughts that may go on. I'm going to give you a little something to possibly put into practice. So when you're having those restful moments and when you're having a problem with overthinking things and you can't relax your mind, you can't relax your body, take the time to just sit, take a couple of deep breaths, make the intentions to say, I'm going to sit here and rest. I'm going to allow my mind to rest. I'm going to park all of my thoughts into a place where I can at least allow myself, even if it's 5 minutes, of just not thinking. And you start off with that, you make those intentions, and sometimes you even have to say it out loud so that way it's spoken out, you hear it, you're taking it in, you're processing it so you can put it into practice. And you allow yourself to take a couple of deep breaths and breathe. And then you might even do something and you like a thought may be coming into play and you be like, my mind is clear. I'm allowing my body to rest. My mind is clear. And take the time to see if that actually works for you. Now that may work for some people, but some other people might be like, maybe like, Mecca, that's not working for me. Now, there is definitely on YouTube a lot of different sounds that may be very helpful, where you can go into nature sounds, or it could be water sounds. It could be, what is those? The beta sounds. Whatever it is that can bring a certain sense of calm, add that to the mix to help you with that process. And I know you also have something that can also help, especially my fellow Muslims, and even for the non-Muslims. Don't worry about it. Give it a try. See if you like it. It's listening to some Quran. The recitation. It could be more relaxing than what you think. It can help your mind, your body, and your spirit relax. You literally sometimes you can feel the calm just like kind of coming over you. So put some of those into play, into to place to see which one works for you in order for you to dive into your self-care as well as your relaxing and resting and chilling, which was number 5. Number 6 is big because at this point there's been so many times and throughout my life when I was a kid I would hear women either in my family, women in my community, people on TV, they always talk about, especially the moms, I've done everything, I stopped and I've given up everything for these kids and for this marriage, and I've sacrificed this and I sacrificed that, and I haven't been able to actually work on my dreams. This is the time, boo boo. Work on your dreams. at this moment, this is your time where you can shine, you can thrive. You want to go back to school? Of course, you got to talk it out with your husband, but you may be going back to school. You may be working on a project that you've always wanted to actually put into place. It may be a business, it may be a nonprofit, it may be a program or a workshop or a class, whatever that thing is. Pour into that. At this time, you're literally being given some time to actually put some of those things into practice in order for you to be able to possibly bring out that thing that has been trapped in your head, trapped in your heart, into your reality. So working on your dreams, don't belittle that. And don't say, oh, well, it's because of the family and this, that, and the fourth. Well, you don't have that excuse now, because you now have some time in the middle of, your week, where you actually can pour into you and your dreams. Talk about that. First, list out what are some of those things that you actually would like to possibly put to work as far as bringing your dreams into becoming a reality. So that way, when you talk to your husband about it, you kind of giving them a plan, like, hey, this is my game plan. This is what I have. This is the thought that I had in mind, that this is something that I've always wanted to do. And I actually want to put it into practice. And I wanted to share that with you. And you tell me what I wanted to get your feedback. You're now including him in the midst of everything, or in the mix of everything. And at the same time, not only could he be open to it, but he may be very supportive of even possibly giving or providing you whatever means that's necessary for you to actually make it your reality. So focus on your dreams. Okay, so those are the 7 things that you can do with your free time to kind of help you not just uh think about him, but it also can help you in the areas of you really strengthening your security within yourself, as well as working on, any type of jealousies that you may have. Because a lot of times when it comes to insecurities and when it comes to jealousies within polygyny, it's always connected with comparison. She has this and she has that. I don't have this and I don't have that. They doing this and we not doing that. It always is connected in some way, shape, or form within a comparison type of situation. Now, I'm not saying that at all, but most of the time, it normally is connected with comparison. And we're going to talk about that in a little bit. But I want you to make sure that instead of you focusing on them, focus on you and him. Like, what are some of the things that you can do as a wife that can help with actually deepening your connection with one another, as far as with him, you with him, and him with you? How can we live our best life within this particular marriage, within this particular marital home? So I'm going to actually ask you to write out some things that as a wife, regardless if he says something to you, or if yourself that you need to work on, as far as some areas that you struggle with, or maybe a flaw or a fault. Look at some of those things and start working on those, because one of the things that you don't want to do is you don't want to dive into a rabbit hole of your jealousy and even your insecurities, taking you further and further down and further away from your marriage, your husband, to the point where you almost will see yourself outside of that marriage. We do not want that. So we want to work on the things that we know we may struggle with. And yes, I want you to write down some of the things that you may see in him, but this is not a him. This is a us. Like, okay, I'm going to mention some things about him, but I also want to look at me. I want to see parts of me that I know that I may need to work on. I know I may struggle with, and I know it needs my attention as far as becoming better in this area. Because if we want him to become better, we have to understand that we ain't all together neither, and we have to become better as women as well. So what are some of those things that you need to work on in order for you to become better in that area of your marriage, where you guys can grow stronger together and connect in a way that you've never connected before, where the both of you are listening and hearing and understanding one another in your positions as you are navigating these polygyny streets, okay? So, addition to that list, I want you to write down some of the things that you would like from him, that you may require from him, that you would like to do with him, and be able to have that conversation as well. And ask him, is it anything that he would require of you? To ask him if there's anything that he would like to do with you and anything that he would like from you. Because we got to remember, this is not a one-way street. This is a two-way street. There's two people that's a part of this particular marriage, talking about you and him. And it's not all about just you. It's about the both of you. So yes, you want to make sure that you share some of the things that you require and that you want from him and this, that, and the fourth, but ask him as well. What does he require from you? What does he want from you? What would he like to see from you? This is what we call putting in that work. Now, I know I spoke earlier about comparison, right? And one of the things you don't want to do is you don't want to compare yourself to her. Okay? She is not you, and you are not her. So there's no reason why you should say, oh, she has this and that, and I don't have that. Well, guess what? If that was not something that you was thinking about before she came in, make sure that you are being sincere to your journey. Now, yes, she may inspire certain things or may encourage or may bring to light certain things that maybe you weren't aware of that you may want to try, you may want to look into. But if it's something that you never thought about before, you walked past and this, that, and the fourth, and it was never an issue before, and now all of a sudden you want that. That's not how we do this. You want to make sure you want him to be fair and just. Make sure that you're being fair and just in what you require. So make sure that when whatever it is that you're requiring from your husband, it may be inspired by your co-wife, but don't do it in to have spite or doing it in a spiteful way, saying, "Oh, I want that too," even though deep down inside you don't want that. But being as though it seemed like it's a nice thing. She living large. She got this. She got that. I want that too because she got that, even though that's not your thing. Don't be like that. I know there's a lot of women who are not like that, but I know that there's some women who are. And that's not going to help your situation, let alone it's not going to do anything to ease the pain that you may be dealing with. Because maybe you might be like, oh, he's going to buy her all that stuff, then I'm going to make sure he's going to spend his money on me too. When you had those opportunities and still have those opportunities, but instead you're putting your pain and allowing your pain to mislead you in a way where it's not going to be beneficial to you at all. And sometimes those behaviors come from us forgetting who we are as women. Like, we them girls. Like, a first wife, second wife, third and fourth wife that's married to the same husband or same man, they all can say, I'm that girl. They all can equally say that they are that girl because they are uniquely themselves. They are authentically themselves. They are sincerely and genuinely themselves. And there is no other person like. So when you recognize that you that girl, like what she has, that is hers. And I'm happy that she has that. What I have, I am happy that I have that. Don't forget about all of the stuff that you have and you've had over the years before the new wife came in. Let's not forget about those things. Let's not get caught up in moments of emotions and pain and hurt. You have those moments of emotions and pain and hurt and you can't seem to get out of it. Call me. send me a message. Reach out to me. I can help you if the creator allows. One of the last things I want to talk about, it as far as when it comes to coping with jealousy and also insecurities when it's not your time with him, meaning when he's with his other wife, is preparing yourself for when it's your time with him again. You could go shopping for a new outfit for the house or for when you go out. You could do you could maybe pick a date, like activity or event, whether it's in the house or outside of the house. You can maybe, get some things together to prepare his favorite meal, or you might ask him, "Hey babe, I was thinking, let's make this, when we were watching the cooking show the other day, and you said that you really wanted to try such and such recipe. How do you feel about making that together, like me and you actually cook the dinner together?" And he says yes. Oh, great. Now you're going to be able to take a moment that you had previously and create another moment that actually enhances that moment that you both shared when you watched the cooking show. Now you are the cooking show. And you can have fun with that too. Mm-hmm. Read between the lines. Just saying. So prepare yourself. Like, don't allow yourself to be so caught up in comparison, because comparison is definitely a bish. And if you know, then you know. And if you don't know, go on the co-wifecoach.com, and in the shop, there's a recording that I literally have that's called Comparison is a Bish. You'll be able to understand that. But anyway, comparison is definitely a bish. You do not want to follow within the path of, just looking at her and looking at what she has and what you have, and actually belittling or forgetting all of the things that you have and had over the years because you see something new. And also, you want to make sure that you're reminding yourself daily that you that girl, while you're putting all of the other things that we mentioned earlier into practice, in order for you not to just do things in your free time, but to pour back into you and to remind yourself about you. Like, you matter. Your position in his heart matters, and it has not decreased. And that it is time for you to pour into you, pour some valuable things into you in order for you to be able to see clearly who you really are. I'm hoping that this episode was beneficial to you all as we get ready to wrap things up. Listen, I am excited. I'm so excited with you all joining me on this journey. And I'm looking forward to our next episode, which is going to be real, real good. That's all I'm going to say. It's going to be real, real good. But in the meantime, between time, I'm going to wrap this thing up. It's been a pleasure speaking with you all on this episode of the Poly Talk podcast. And again, I am your host, Mecca the Co-Wife Coach. May you all have a beautiful, beautiful remaining day and week or weekend, depending on when you're listening, on purpose and with purpose. Till next time. Peace. And assalamu alaikum.